Welcome back to Swordbox. We're outside this morning, and maybe you can hear the sounds of the highways pretty close. Our verse for today is, "But by this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." And we've been talking about the story of Moses, maybe wondering how that kind of fits in with what's going on with Egypt. We've already seen the plagues of the waters being turned to blood, talked about the plagues of the frogs, and I think I referred to the third plague as lice, is which what it says in my Bible, but what it really refers to is gnats. And so there is another plague that is being done to the Egyptians, and it's called gnats, and they're absolutely everywhere. And this time, even Pharaoh's own people said, in verse 19 of chapter 8, "Then the magician said to Pharaoh, 'This is the finger of God.' But Pharaoh's heart grew hard. He did not heed them, just as the Lord had said." So even though these miracles are being done, Pharaoh's heart is still becoming hard. But in verse 20, God tells Moses and Aaron that he's going to send another plague, and this time it's going to be flies. And flies everywhere in the house. And this time it's a little bit different. In verse 23, God says, "I will make a difference between my people and your people." In other words, the flies aren't going to come near the Jewish people. God was making some outward distinctions by protecting his people, and the Egyptians, there would be no doubt that he was their God and that he was their people. That's kind of what I wanted to focus on this morning. Does God make a distinction today between his people? You know, outside of being at church and being around people that you know are Christians, do you know who's saved and who's not? Is there any difference between a child of God and someone who isn't? Do you think that Christians, or that people are Christians when they don't smoke, or they don't chew, or they don't hang around people who do? I mean, what is the basis that you can know that someone is a Christian? There's plenty of lost people who live very disciplined, very moral lives every day. Is that the distinction? Here's another verse I'd like you to think about. Matthew 5:16 says, "Let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven." And of course our verse for today is, "By this all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." So it's the inward distinction God makes in our heart, the outward expression of his love being shown. The people will know we are Christians. And I just encourage you today, as you go through your life, go through your day, pray to God, ask him to pour his love not only in your heart, but through your heart, and be a blessing to others, and let people know that you are Christians by your love. God bless you. You have a great day.